Welcome to Raw, the S4 Labour podcast dedicated to helping hospitality businesses thrive. With your hosts, Alastair Scott and myself, Richard Hartley. Each episode will dive into how operators can stay competitive through smarter operations, bringing you insights, some stories, and some expert guests. Whether you're managing a small restaurant or a nationwide operation, Raw is your go-to source for success. So without further ado, let's get on with the episode. The next episode of Raw.
How exciting. Well, maybe.
So we wanted to talk about habits today. We were inspired by a recent coaching session.
We had, yes, by the great Dulcie Swanston,
Yes.
who was brilliant. Actually, it was a session about personal biases, which basically means the lies you tell yourself. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But what inspired us and reminded us was the Rule of 66.
Which every time I hear it, I'm just surprised that it's so long. So I have to explain it first.
Yes, 66 is 66 days to embed a habit. If you want to embed a habit, doing exercise for me, which therefore I'll never do, it takes 66 days to embed that habit in you, and then you might keep doing it forever.
So in other words, you've basically got to continue to do something habitually for 7 weeks. Make the effort to do something for 7 weeks for it to become habitual.
And I think that's really important in the training environment, because what it means is keep training for 7 weeks. Yeah. If you train for 2 weeks and stop, you will not embed the habit.
Or change.
And you'll have to redo it. So therefore, being a bit slower over a longer period will make you more successful, because you'll force that habit through until it becomes an embedded habit. And there's nothing more draining for trainers, area managers, whoever, than trying to embed a habit, thinking you've done it because you've done it for 3 weeks, but then that habit will dissipate and you'll have to retrain and re-energize that habit again in the future.
And you'll constantly be circling around, because you'll do it for 2 weeks, you'll forget about it for a month, then you'll be frustrated that it hasn't landed, you'll come back to it and do it for another 2 weeks, and so on and so on.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes. In fact, I'm kind of puzzling on that, because my biggest frustration in our own pubs is music and lighting.
Yes,
always music and lighting. I come in and we're going to go, oh yes, the music's not loud enough, and the lighting's not dark enough.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, why does it happen? Maybe I'll have to adopt this myself, to go, right, I'm going to do it every week, week in, week out, until we've done it for some weeks.
And we're the start of September now, so now's the time where it becomes really relevant, obviously, because the evenings are getting shorter.
And also, I think if you split the year into 3, now's a really good time to embed habits, because you've got to run up, and inevitably in the Christmas period, you'll focus on different things. You'll focus on delivering for Christmas, right, but not on the habits that you might want to. So this is a prime period to embed a bunch of habits. I'd pick 3, but that's me.
Yeah, 3's a nice number because it's doable. But we've got 9 to talk through.
We've got 9 to talk about. Right. The sad thing is, then, it would take you a whole year to just embed these 9 habits.
Quite.
But I think the real point for me is going, if you've spent a whole year doing these 9 habits in the right way, those should be habits for life.
They're habits for life.
And that's the really important thing.
So we picked our top 9.
We picked our top 9. Anybody can pick their own. This is just us.
We thought we'd share these, because we figured if you focused on these, they'll make a tangible difference to your staff, your customer experience in your business.
And the first one I picked, which was a bit of a throwback for me, the first article I ever wrote for the Morning Advertiser, 15 years ago, was on smiles.
No, well, I know, but it's just so important. Like, people come to a hospitality venue to have a nice time.
I know. And they want people to smile at them.
Yeah.
We all have a nice time if people are smiling. And, but there's some people, particularly some young kids now, I think it's a bit too cool for school to smile.
No, quite.
But actually, therefore, we've got to change that habit. And it's an important life skill.
No, definitely. I remember some of our seniors at M&B were saying, you've got to remember, people are paying a premium to come out and they want an experience.
Yes.
And part of it, they want to leave feeling like they've shelled out some of their hard-earned cash for an elevated time.
Exactly. So smiling, we all know, is essential. But actually, it's not about being essential. It's about how do we embed that habit and really focus on an essential ingredient of hospitality.
So following a smile comes a
hello. We used to have a girl called Magda in the Square Compass, and she had the loudest hello you could imagine. She could do a great hello from 20 feet. But I still remember Magda because she was the best at hellos.
And this is our second habit: hellos and goodbyes.
And goodbyes, yes.
So, kind of, making people feel welcome when they've walked into your business. We had this pet hate when I was doing casual dining. If you walk into a business and they go, "Have you looked?" You go, what a terrible way to greet somebody. You go, well, hello, how are you? Are you having a nice day?
Yes, anything. There's,
have you
yes, exactly. You kind of go, how would you do it in your own home? What would you do when you open the door to your guests? What are the first words that would come out? And that's a good guide for what you should do.
Quite. And at the end of the experience, equally, a fond farewell.
Yes. I might not quite, as I did to 2 minute friends, follow them to their car and then wave goodbye. But I kind of think just a good wave as they leave would be a nice thing to do.
You want them to leave having a fond memory of their experience. The bit that's going to resonate with them as they think where they're going to go next week, or you want their lasting memory of your hospitality, of their hospitality experience to be a really fond one.
Well, they want to think of a nice, friendly team.
Yeah,
that is a great part of the experience.
Quite. Then. Okay.
Oh, don't get me started on the word okay.
Okay is not okay.
I was really pleased the other day when somebody else started talking about the word okay and the fact that we don't want our experiences to be okay. We want our experiences to be great. Exactly. So why do we use the word okay? Are you okay for drinks? Was your food okay? Da-da-da-da-da. You kind of go, it should just be a banned word in our businesses.
Across the industry, it's a kind of that sort of check back where you're almost just ticking a box. Everything okay, and then they've almost disappeared before you've had a chance to answer.
And also, it's the wrong assumptive close. It's an assumptive negative close that says, "Are you okay for drinks?" Yes. Okay, so I'm not getting you now another drink, as opposed to going, "Can I get you another glass of bread?" Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that would be really nice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They're so easy. But again, it's one of those things that the default trickles back to the word okay if we're not careful.
And it's just an average experience and a phrase that we'd like to see banned. So that's habit 3. Habit 4, full in, full out.
Full in, full out. It's so important, isn't it? If we come back to productivity and efficiency, and it ties in with everything else, is if you've gone to the far corner of your restaurant with 3 plates, great if you can carry 3 plates.
Well done.
Then actually, as you sweep through the rest, pick up stuff on the way. Actually, that will also mean, which is a good thing, you've got to touch a few more tables. But that's a good thing as well.
Quite. So this is mainly a productivity thing. The amount of people that sort of will run to a kitchen or run to the bar to check if their food's ready for their section and completely ignore the rest of the business just kills productivity.
And the worst bit I find is in ketchup delivery. So too often you kind of go, do you want some sauces? So the team rush back for sauces, rush back with the sauces and rush back again. And they've missed a whole bunch of opportunities to reduce their number of steps for the day and make the guest experience better.
Quite. Okay. Question 5 is a really interesting one. This kind of curiosity, fact finding.
Curiosity. Yes, and actually it reminds me, I actually went to Scotland this year, and every bar I went into, they asked me about why I was there.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? What are you doing this weekend? Why are you up here? And actually, if we just got our teams to find out one thing about the guest, that would mean they'd have to engage in some sort of conversation.
And then hopefully maybe tying that into their experience or however else, but just demonstrating a nice, pleasant level of curiosity.
Yes, and I don't think this needs to be prescribed.
No.
What it needs to be is natural, and actually you just learn how to make conversation.
As soon as you script anything like this, it feels
wooden and awful.
Yeah. But actually, I think this also makes it much more enjoyable for the team members.
Much more enjoyable.
We talk about taking on younger team members within the hospitality industry. I think we're excellent at helping people develop into kind of in their working careers. But part of this actually is then going through that training process of be curious with other people
and learning to talk to old people.
And learn to
As
talk to
any
people.
17-year-old will refer to somebody even at your age.
Yeah, I know. That's embarrassing now, but yes,
Yes.
we're there now. So it is a life skill. It's a really valuable one. It enhances the guest experience.
And come back to habits. It is one that you will have to take 7 weeks to get going, because people will be uncomfortable. They'll have to go through their own learning experiences. They'll have to try and fail. And the danger is that they try and fail and give up. And what you've got to do is help them succeed. And succeeding here is quite hard and is quite difficult for some people. We have to understand that, particularly for the COVID generation.
Well, and I know, and as kind of social media gets rife and the like, and people stare at their phones far more than engage with their people, engage through WhatsApp as opposed to telephone calls.
Yes.
We sound like proper old men.
We are, aren't we? Yes. Let's move on. What's next?
Well, actually, we thought it was second drinks.
Second drinks. Yes, I used to go out with my wife when I was at M&B, and I used to refuse to allow her to have a second drink unless somebody asked her for it. It meant my meals were far cheaper, but really sad. And actually, if I go all the way back, it's why Harvester introduced the limitless cola or whatever, because we were so bad at selling second drinks, we might as well have given them away. But actually, the whole point about a second drink is so important, because actually the worst bit, of course, is as your food arrives and your glass of wine is nearly empty, you don't want to be disrupted. You want to eat your food. And it's the golden moment when the glass is even a third full or whatever to go, can I get you another glass of wine? And again, not the word okay. Can I get you another glass of wine? Would you like another pint? Yes. Would you like a glass of red? So many great prompted questions that will encourage a second drink and actually makes a big difference to the spend per head for the day.
Spend per head, but also the guest experience.
Absolutely.
You kind of sat there. If you miss the opportunity and a guest is trying to attract your attention to get a drink to go with their meal, then it's they're feeling a bit let down.
Restaurantisers last.
We'll come back to that.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So the 4-foot rule. And this is something that we pinched from Walmart.
Well, yeah, Walmart used to have this, and that whenever you were 4 foot from a customer, you had to actually talk to a customer. And I think it's such a good rule because it's what you should do. So if you pass, it doesn't matter if you're passing with 3 plates and they can see you're busy, you should still smile and say hi on your journey. You should not be head down, act like you're not there. And it's so nice. And even if they're looking something, they'll understand. And if you say, I'll be back in a minute, I'm just dropping these plates off. But you've had a conversation with the guest, you've been engaging, and you've been hospitable.
Who'd have thought it? But it is really, that's kind of, in the skills that you have to teach your team, that kind of acknowledgement that somebody's trying to get your attention, but they can see that you're busy. You've got 3 plates. They know that you're not going to stop and take your order.
Yes.
But they know, but you've acknowledged the fact that you're going to come back to them.
Yes.
You've got a job that you're doing, but I'll be right back to you.
And again, it just embeds a habit which says, smile and look at the guest and be comfortable about engaging in conversation at all times.
And that neatly ties into habit number 8.
Which is?
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
Actually look at people.
I love this. I once did some training for someone, and I said to the bar team that when they served a guest, they then had to tell their colleague what colour the eyes of the guest were. And what happened is the girl behind the bar came up to me after she'd done this for a couple of hours, said, I really don't like this. I said, why? What's the problem? She said, well, then I have to talk to them.
Please.
Yes. And you go, but that's the point. So actually, but make eye contact, and particularly in the world of iPads. Yeah. Where actually, if you're not careful, your eye's down the whole time.
What you mean by this is iPad ordering?
iPad ordering.
Yeah.
Then actually, it's really important to look up from that iPad and make eye contact with the guest. What would you like to eat? What's the fish and chips like? Oh, it's magnificent. We put a curl on the tail. Do that. You kind of go, whatever it might be, make eye contact with the guest. And I think that's so important and essential to, again, that guest experience.
Quite. And then the final one, restaurant eyes.
Restaurant eyes, yes. This is the blinkers of the horse world, isn't it? This is, I'm setting off on this mission. I see nothing else, but I can see that there's a guest that's waving. I can see that there's a guest that's unsure. I can see a guest standing around not knowing where the toilets are. You want to be able, every time you do a task, to go, I know what I'm doing now. I'm going to look up and look around and see what else is going on.
This is absolutely observing the restaurant. playing your part as the conductor or as the player coach, and being able to understand what's going on and who needs who and when they're going to leave them.
Yes. And then, of course, not going up to the table and going, is everything okay? As we circle back round.
Yeah. But it's fascinating because we talk about coping and things, and I think restaurant hours get worse when you're short-staffed.
Absolutely.
Because people go, oh, crikey, I can't bear to actually think that people might need me. I know, I'll just go head down and just focus on my one task and not...
And actually, it is entirely understandable that you do that when you are understaffed. Because actually, you just go, I need to get this job done. If I look up,
there'll be more jobs.
Get worse.
Yeah.
It can become difficult, and I understand that.
It does. I mean, and we've touched on forecasting and sort of coping previously, and we won't overly dwell on it. But the point is, here, have restaurants. Training the team to have restaurant hours as well. This isn't just a manager's job. This is everybody's job. Is to be continually aware of what everybody needs within the business and go and search for those.
But also, you'll net be more efficient. So coming back to full in, full out, if you drop some plates off and then you're on your way back and somebody says, can you get me some sauces? You haven't had to go to that table, go and get those sauces. So you're actually removing journeys and becoming more productive.
Yeah, but you've got to look for the work.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there we are. Our latest episode of Raw.
Cool.
We'll be back again soon. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share with your colleagues. You can also follow S4 Labour on LinkedIn for updates and additional content. If you have any questions or like to get in touch, you can reach us at hello@s4labour.co.uk or visit www.s4labour.co.uk. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.